Well, hello, we're here with Don Gebert. Pastor Gebert served Lord of Life Lutheran Church in the Woodlands for a number of years and grew that congregation from what?
About 450 to about 1,450.
1,450.
Yeah.
So very involved in evangelism, and we're here to ask him a little bit about evangelism and what he did to move the congregation from point A to point B. But beforehand, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the ordained ministry?
55 years next spring.
55 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Wow.
Long time.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Barbara and I have been married for 57 years, and we have 5 children and 8 grandchildren. And most of us are in Texas.
That's a good thing.
Came from Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So, you said you were a missionary in Guyana for 5 years?
Yeah, that was a wonderful, wonderful experience with some of the poorest people in the world, of 6 different races, all mixed together. They have one thing in common: they were all poor. And the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Guyana had been founded, and I went down there and I had a 6-church parish up the river, where part of it could only be reached by boat, because Guyana was not very well organized, didn't have roads or anything. And that was just great. A couple of my children were born down there without a doctor, and
wow,
a great experience.
And then when you came back from Guyana, with much evangelism experience there, you went to Philadelphia? Is that
yeah, in the deepest poverty pocket of Philadelphia, and worked there for 10 years, trying to renew the church. Most of our congregations in the inner city of Philadelphia were peopled by wealthy white folks who commuted in on Sunday mornings and back out again, in the middle of communities that really had a need. And so we started the Center City Lutheran Parish, organized about 20 congregations to cooperate with each other, and we went in there and integrated the church, which wasn't always fun, but it was a great experience.
Wow, fantastic. And then after Philadelphia?
After Philadelphia, down here to help with the startup of the Woodlands. I was put in charge of doing all what Mr. Mitchell, who owned the Woodlands, called the software, the people stuff. And we had a separate corporation, the Woodlands Religious Community, which brought in all the churches of all denominations and started all the human services. And then, of course, Lord of Life arose in the Woodlands, and I got involved there and worked there, and I'm still a member of Lord of Life. Been a member for 32 years.
So you've been in Texas for how long? 32 years?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And you said that you were an assistant to Bishop Wahlberg and Bishop Brody at some point in time?
Yeah.
That fit in.
Well, after Interfaith got started and grew and grew and grew, and the administrator's job became just administration, and I'm a people guy, I decided it was time to get out of that. And then Phil Wahlberg, who was Bishop of the old Texas-Louisiana Synod of the LCA.
For 29 years.
Oh, he was just an unbelievable human being. And he asked me to work for him. It was a great privilege. And I helped to lead us through the transition where we united with the ALC.
Wow.
And then, as soon as that happened, Bishop Rody became Bishop of the Southwestern Texas Synod and asked me to come work with him.
Okay.
So I was out in that part of Texas for 4 or 5 years.
Okay, so does it go Bishop Rody, Bishop Bennett, Bishop Tiemann? Is that how it went in Southwest
That's how
Texas?
that went, right.
Fantastic.
Right.
Well, and you have a document here which we'll make available on the webpage at www.gulfcoastsynod.org/evangelism that is growing the congregation, a 12-step evangelism program. And I wonder if you could just kind of walk us through this and tell us, what you've learned about evangelism and what you did at Lord of Life and what you might recommend for those of us that are trying to do evangelism today. You believe in visitation.
Oh, yes. I believe in visitation. I believe in evangelism. I've been intrigued all my adult life by Jesus saying in Matthew 25, I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I've always been trying to see how to translate that in terms of our congregations. And I got the greatest opportunity of my life finally when I got to be made part-time pastor at Lord of Life, pastor of evangelism and stewardship, where that's all I did. I worked with Chuck Kinswater, who was the senior pastor, and spent all of my time doing nothing but evangelism and stewardship. so I could put together a program which took this stranger at the moment he and his family decide they're going to drive into the parking lot of this strange church and see what it's all about. From that moment until they're assimilated into the